Great morning, students. How are you today? Hope you're enjoying your lessons. And today we are going to look into our lesson on CRS, parable about maturity and responsibility. And by the end of the lesson, we are going to narrate the story of the parable of the 10 virgins and the story of the parable of the talents. You also narrate the parable of the unforgiving steward. You state some of the significant points from the above parables. So when we talk of maturity, he said is behaving sensibly like an adult. It is the ability to solve problem in a meaningful and appealing way. So for the 10 virgins, we looked into the book of Matthew, chapter 25, 1 to 13. And Jesus said, the 10 bridesmaids light their lamps, waiting for the bridegroom. 5 were wise, they kept what? Extra oil, while 5 were foolish, in that they had none for extra. When they heard about the bridegroom's arrival, there were no oil remaining for their lamp, and they asked the wise, but were disappointed on hearing that they needed to go and buy for sufficient. When they left, the bridegroom arrived, and those who were ready went in with him, and the door was shut against others. So, if you look at our pictures, you see where the 5 that were wise entered, while the ones that have not come back from where they went to were disappointed. They were stood at a door. So, for the significance of this very lesson, this parable about 10 virgins, is that it signifies that we need proper preparation. It's not only just waiting for exam to come forward or for assignment to be given. We need to read ahead as students. So they usually say this adage that proper preparation prevents poor performance. So we need proper preparation for academic projects, assignments, examination. We don't need to relent when we want to learn as students, and we should be always in readiness for the second coming of Christ, which is what? The bridegroom. Then we now look at the second lesson, which is the talents, where we also read Matthew 25 from 14 to 30. And it tells about a certain man who is a businessman called his servants when he was about to travel, and gave them talent to trade with according to their ability. He gave the first 5 talents, he gave the second 2 talents, and he gave the third 1 talent. So on his return, after a long stay, he called them to give accounts. The first traded and gained 5 more. The second had a profit of 2 talents, but the third said he hid it in the ground, and so he did not make any profit. The master collected from the first 2 their profits and promised them promotion. Then he called the third for his profit, but he was surprised when the servant told him how wicked he is, expecting to reap where he did not sow. And the master rebuked him and banished him into darkness, where men weep and garnish their teeth. Then, for the significance of this very lesson, he said the first 2 made use of their talents for the master, while the third was unprofitable. So we must make use of our talent for our Master Jesus and for the world to benefit from us. Okay, so that we have the what? The reward during his second coming. into our lives. And if any decides to be unprofitable, eternal destruction, that is eternity in hell, is awaiting such person. And we now look into the unforgiving steward, reading from the book of Matthew 18:21 to 34. And they said the parable came up as a result of Peter's question about forgiving his brother only 7 times in a day when offended. But Jesus told him it should be 70 times 7, which is up to 490 times, which simply means unlimited. That means you forgive every time, even to have what forgiving spirits before the time comes. Okay, because surely offenses must come. Then they now said a king called his servant to settle his account with them, and one of his servants was brought to him, owing 10,000 talents. The king ordered his family and property to be sold, since the debt was too much, even when he was asking for more time to pay back. He was pardoned by the king and his debt cancelled. Shortly after he was forgiven, he saw a fellow servant that owed him only 100 diamonds, that is 1 talent. He had him, he held him on his throat to pay his money. As his debtors fell to the ground begging, he would not listen but shut him in prison. So if you look at it, it shows that you seek for forgiveness, but you cannot forgive others, like the unforgiving steward. Another servant told their master about that, as he was what sent for, delivered to the tormentor until he should pay all his debt. That means if you feel that you can't forgive, you can also provoke someone that may not also forgive you, that you will suffer more in his or her hands. So it's good we do what? We forgive ahead. For the significance, we said offense is of the inevitable situation in life. One must surely look for your trouble in one way or the other. But if you had that spirit of forgiveness, you should learn to forgive what ahead before it comes to be. Because if you don't forgive easily, you can just do what? Have issues. You'll be always shocked when you see the offender. You have the scar on you. You start to develop ill health in the name of worrying for someone you cannot forgive because of unnecessary word decision. Okay, so our heart should be what? Open for forgiveness, so that our Heavenly Father will also forgive our trespasses, as we used to pray in the book of Matthew 18, verse 35. All right. In absence of any other thing for this our lesson, hope you enjoyed it. Today, again, you do what? Little narration as you are doing your evaluation. You narrate the story of the parable of the 10 virgins, also the parable of the 10 talents, the story of her parable of unforgiving steward, and state the significance points and lessons from the